So, once more, welcome to Confessions of a Libtard, where we spit facts. Once more, why is the entire climate change thing so fishy? Because, of course, we should make efforts to do better by our environment. That is not the question. The question is, things are not so simple, things are not so linear, and things are not so binary. And what do we mean by that? For example, why is there a concentration on, for example, carbon emission, all right, rather than, for example, nuclear waste? And France fought very hard to ensure that basically nuclear waste is not included in legislation that is a very pro-climate change, if you will, and particularly concentrated on carbon emission. Okay, why? Because they are the biggest users of nuclear energy. And though it is toxic and 100 times worse, we have no means of disposing of it. And then you might say, well, we don't hear of things happening so much in France as far as this. It's because they're not getting the uranium in France. They're getting it from Niger, one of the poorest countries in the world, okay? And basically, they take about the majority of the profit from uranium. It is one of the richest countries in resources, but one of the poorest. Seems to be a trend for former, if you will, and post-colonial French nations, right? So, interestingly enough, when it comes to the UN, the Niger government gets great reviews, despite the fact that there are wars, despite the fact that basically rivers are toxic, despite the fact they're having all kinds of birth defects. It is ridiculous. Not only that, the nation is not getting any, if you will, they're not getting vast majority of the resources. And you can clearly see why some of the richest people in the world over the past years were French, and why the nation has gained so much interest. There's also a reality as to who gets good ratings in the UN if you are there. It is puppet governments for things that are an infiltration that are way worse than countries who simply don't have the same economic interest as them. And so there is a weaponization, because there is a Eurocentric, and we say Eurocentric, we're not really saying all Europeans, let's be clear. We're not including Poland. Poland has always been, for example, super resistant. They've always been cool like that, like rebels against the EU. Respect. But it's like, there is a reality that it's the twin engines, France and Germany. And so they wield the influence when it comes to mentality. Particularly, you see even people here who are liberal, oh, climate change, climate change, climate change. Just because Macron goes out and says it, everybody's repeating it. Never once questioning, why is nuclear waste not in there? Common sense, that's way worse.